In this video, I want to talk about the importance of flanking transmission. So let's get to it. And how is flanking transmission affected by room size? So let's say you have a cube-shaped room. It's a perfect cube like this. And then you have vertical sound transmission from the room above, like so. Now, what are the primary transmission paths here? First, you have the direct sound that goes straight through the floor structure, straight down. And then you will have flanking transmission through each of these wall pair combinations. This way, this one, and that one. These are the primary transmission paths. You got the direct path and you got 4 flanking paths. Now, usually the direct path is the one that you need to worry about the most and pay the most attention to get it right, because it's usually the critical one. It's a big area and it's the one that's directly separating the rooms. However, if you got a small room like this, well, it's quite... Let's just check out the flanking transmission problem first. Let's say you've got a T-junction like this. There are several ways to mount a floor. You could do it like this with some angled steel. Well, this is the worst one because now you get very effective flanking transmission this path. You could also do it like this, which is, of course, better because now there are separate elements and you have to go over junctions. And even better if you add some elastic interlayers here, especially if you do it on both sides. Now it's going to be really tough for the sound to go through that way. And another parameter that will have an effect, of course, is the thickness of the slabs. If they are very thick, now exaggerating, then of course it's going to be even better because this structure is harder to excite with sound. Anyways, it's quite clear from this little sketch that this path is probably more sensitive than this path's. Of course, that's the case. But now, let's take a look at this one that we just painted here. You got 2 cube-shaped rooms. Let's say we take the wall areas now and we just fold it out and see how large are the surfaces that radiate sound. So in the receiving room, the one on the bottom here. If we take these 4 walls and we imagine that we fold them out like this. We've got 1, 2, 3. These are the 4 walls. You just open them out. And then the directly separating construction is going to be like this. So you see, you got 4 times the area on the walls. So that means the smaller the room, the more important it is to handle the flanking transmission. Because it's like that Swedish saying, många bäckar små. I don't recall the English version of it, but when you got it adds up little by little. A little goes a long way if you do it many times. So that's what's going to happen here. So even if each one of these 4 is perhaps less important than this one, but when you do it for all 4 walls, then it can become a problem. So that's why you need to pay extra attention to the flanking transmission in a case like this. Whereas if we do another extreme case, we get a huge room like this. And we do the same experiment here. What happens? Maybe you can see where this is going. If you take the 4 walls and you expand them, then you will get like the directly separating area. It's going to be kind of like that. Whereas the 4 walls, when you expand them, will be more like something like that. So in this case, it's obvious that the flanking transmission is less important than the directly separating. And then you have a big scale between these 2 extremes. So every room is unique. And then, of course, also how this junction looks like can also have a huge influence. If it's CLT, for instance, you have to be a bit more careful. But if you have lightweight walls that are more separated from each other, maybe the flanking transmission isn't that big of a deal in that case. So every project is unique, and you always have to remember to consider the floor plan and what kind of effect it has on the resulting sound insulation. So, with that, we want to end. So, have a nice weekend from me and my dog. See ya. Oh, don't lick my microphone.